Okay, people, thanks for coming out. And behind me is a little weird. This is actually a funding opportunity, right, for any academic to go and do some kind of research or public outreach in Luanda, Angola. Why is this important? Well, this is the world we're entering. And this is a world of alliance building. Now, as you saw that documentary on Cuba kicking the living crap, sorry for my language, out of the South Africans, if you remember that, when Angola got its independence, we were supporting some pretty bad dudes. And as you notice with the mercenaries we sent over there, according to John Stockwell, they were psychopaths. And we do this a lot, right? All powers have the tendency to support what it thinks, because it not always is, in its interest. When Angola, an African country, got independence from Portugal, we sent advisors over there to help later on, as you saw in the documentary. UNITA, Joseph Savimbi, or whatever his name is, Joseph Savimbi, was a kind of a psychopath. This guy, but the people we sent over there, because remember, this is in the 70s after the Vietnam War, so people didn't want to, that is, the American public, were kind of wary of sending troops abroad, so we sent over mercenaries to Angola, an African country just getting independence, in order for it to go in the direction of our interest. However, the people didn't seem to like the people we like, and Castro, against the Soviet Union, sent over troops, and they were successful, which shows, I mean, little Cuba knows counterinsurgency and insurgency tactics much better than us. And my favorite part of the documentary is when that South African general was like, all I saw was blood everywhere and everything. I don't have too much sympathy for the apartheid racist government of South Africa. So you see that this was during the Cold War, and John Stockwell is a very important person because he's not a whistleblower, but he became incredulous of US intentions in developing countries and was very forthright in telling the truth about what we were supporting. And I love when he just said they were psychopaths who we were sending over there as mercenaries. Now, a lot of people might be saying this isn't a history class, and you're right. Why is this important, and why do I have this back here? Well, with the rise of Russia, Iran, China, etc., it seems like we're back in a Cold War, and this is important for national security from the side of both the United States and Russia, Iran, Turkey, China, etc., these kind of emerging powers, and then Russia obviously is a re-emerging power. And there is a fight for alliances. And what the United States government and the mainstream press doesn't tell you is that Russia has done a good job, in my opinion, at courting countries like Angola currently to get on its side, because Angola has huge oil wealth, to support Russia. Basically, when I say support Russia, I mean not go follow the United States and many Western Europe countries in imposing sanctions attributable to the current Ukraine crisis. India, Saudi Arabia, obviously China, and other countries have not gone with the United States. And Russia has done a pretty good job at courting these countries to its side. Now, I don't support the Ukraine war. I'm just seeing this in kind of a realpolitik world where it seems like there's a battle for alliances. So as you see behind me, this is a current opportunity with the U.S. Embassy in Luanda, where they're requesting statements of interest, and they wanted them very, very quick. And I was looking at it. I didn't do it. It was due like in April. And it was absolutely amazing because they just wanted people going to Luanda, that is people from the United States, particularly professors, to do these projects with them. I was thinking of doing one on professional development and reaching out to the people of Angola, because that's what the United States wants to do, to build soft power in order to get Angola as an alliance with us. It's very, very interesting how you saw that documentary, that very short documentary, where Cuba actually rolled back the interests of the United States in Angola, and the FPLA actually won, We're seeing, in my opinion, a replay of the Cold War, where we're really out there fighting for alliances, whether it's Saudi Arabia, India, Pakistan, African nations, Latin America. I mean, you should see Russia, China, etc., just expanding throughout these countries. In fact, China is building in Nicaragua a canal to rival the Panamanian Canal. So now the United States is kind of this new scramble, particularly focusing on Africa. Is there a new scramble for Africa? I would say there's a new scramble for alliances, generally speaking, to get people on their side. Nicaragua was just one of the last holdouts, and I was surprised because there's a lot of Taiwanese investment that finally said, we're not going to recognize Taiwan, but we're going to recognize China. And El Salvador did it before. Now, a lot of people might be saying, well, who cares about what a small country El Salvador and Nicaragua think? It does to China and Taiwan. And I was surprised the Nicaraguan government jettisoned the interest of Taiwan and went in favor of China and now recognize China. So I think we're seeing a scramble of alliances out here. Africa is particularly interesting because you start seeing, the expansion of Russia and China to get these kind of African countries on its side. And you also saw, I was just watching a video the other day in the Central African Republic, that it's a conflict zone, and the Wagner group is there, and also in Mali. So not only that, you see mercenaries like we sent horribly to Angola in the 70s. You see the Wagner group now filling this gap with it throughout Africa. Now, I know about the current mutiny and how they had a falling out with Putin, but still, the idea of mercenaries, Russian soldiers sent throughout Africa, it seems like a new Cold War is rising. That's my opinion. You do not have to agree with me. But what's interesting about national security, I'll leave you with a question. Are we going from a unipolar world based on the United States, particularly after the Cold War, 9/11, etc.? Now we're heading to a multipolar world. Is this true? Where we will be fighting for these alliances. And you're going to see a lot more of these grants and funding to get people in the United States to Africa, Latin America, etc., in order to get more alliances, where we're going to see more Russians, Taiwans. In fact, I had a student who took this class, and he went to where did he go? Now it's slipping my mind. It's not Indonesia, Thailand. And he said people actually thought he was Russian. He's from here, because there were so many Russians in Thailand, and the people of Thailand were taking not the side of Russia, saying they support the war, but like not sanctions. So it's an interesting world out there. Are we going from a multipolar world, unipolar world, to a multipolar world? And there's going to be a lot more scrambling, not only for Africa, but for Asia, Latin America, and so on. Thanks for listening, everybody, and take care and think about these big national security questions. And will we have a nuclear war? Well, that'll be another time and another.